Coming up on today's show, we're going to check out some Kevin Stefanski replacements if it gets to that point. I don't think we're there, but I do think it's a greater than non-0% chance that this happens. So we're going to run through some listed names to keep an eye on, some top candidates, if you will. Now, I want to get this out right off the bat, though. I do not think Kevin Stefanski, A, should be fired, and I might be in the minority for this now, but I'm going to stand by it, and B, I don't think he will be fired. But this guy right here, Andrew Berry, he taught us last year, never say never. Never rule anything out. I didn't think the Browns were moving on from Baker Mayfield last year, and here we are today. So Andrew Berry has a bit of a track record to show if I can make an improvement, I will do so. And if Andrew Berry catches wind of, I don't know, say someone like this guy right here, Sean Payton, wanting to be the next Cleveland Browns head coach, well, that's definitely an improvement for Kevin Stefanski. I don't think even Stefanski could argue that. Now, on the topic of Sean Payton, I'm not going to formally include him in my replacements list because I think it's a big long shot for a variety of reasons. One, we don't even know if he wants to come back. We think he does, but we don't know for certain. Two, if he does come back, the Browns have not been listed in teams he's interested in, but let's say he's interested in the Chargers job, for example, really quickly, and that doesn't open up. Well, you know what's probably the most intriguing job? The job with Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett, right? A top 10 quarterback and a top 5 defensive player across the entire league. So I think Sean Payton might go, I didn't maybe have my sight set on Cleveland, Ohio, but yeah, I think I can roll with this roster. I think I can do some good things with it. Now, with that being said, let's jump into some more, I would say, realistic formal replacements if Kevin Stefanski is fired. Starting with Frank Reich. If we get to this point, and this whole show is one big if, but we also thought Baker Mayfield wouldn't be traded. So it was, a lot of players last year. Tyreek Hill, so goes on. Frank Reich, in my opinion, would be an awesome Stefanski replacement. Now, he was the Indianapolis Colts head coach up until middle of this season. He went 40-33-1 with Indy. He was the Eagles OC, in case you don't remember, back in 2016 and 2017. He helped him win a Super Bowl, so he definitely knows a thing or two about winning. And he's also had a bit of a raw deal, in my opinion, when he was down with the Colts. He had a different week one starting quarterback each season he was there. So he never got a chance to really build something from the bottom to the top with one quarterback. You know who's going to be here for at least the next 4 years, and hopefully longer? Deshaun Watson. So I think Frank Reich could do an awesome job. I think Frank Reich is going to be the crown jewel of this upcoming head coaching hiring season, if you will. Now, I don't know if he's going to go the Doug Peterson route and maybe sit out for a year, or if he's going to want to jump right back into the thick of things. But I think if the job is open, Frank Reich would be an awesome candidate. Now, before you go, hey, wait. I don't want to hire Frank Reich. He did not do well in Indianapolis this year. That's true. I also want to point out that second chances are a really important thing in life, like in football too. Bill Belichick, Tom Coughlin, Mike Shanahan, Pete Carroll are all guys who had second chances with another team, and they did really well with that second opportunity. Sometimes you need to learn from your mistakes, like any job or any human being ever. So for that reason, yeah, I wouldn't have much of an issue with affording or reaching out a second chance to Frank Reich or some other coaches we'll look at here. But you tell me, from the start, should the Browns even move on from Kevin Stefanski? I'm going to go with no. I do not want to continue to be a joke and a laughingstock of, did the Browns just fire their NFL AP Coach of the Year from 2 years ago? Now, I also agree we had the same logic for Baker Mayfield of, well, this is the best quarterback the Browns have had in ever, and they're going to move on from him? Well, this is the best Browns head coach we've had in quite some time, but I don't think you should just settle, but I still believe the Browns should stick with Kevin Stefanski. All right, next replacement option is going to be Dan Quinn. Kind of going down that path of second chances here. I know things didn't go super smooth when he was with the Falcons, but I think if Frank Reich is not going to enter the mix, enter the pool this January, Dan Quinn's probably going to be the number one candidate this coaching cycle. Maybe some other guys we'll look at later on, but as it stands right now, I'm going to lean Quinn. Now, maybe second time's the charm, right? Maybe he just needs a second opportunity to learn from his mistakes when he was with the Falcons. And I think Dan Quinn is a great head coach. I understand he's not an offensive guy. And Dan Quinn, when you've got an offensive built team with Deshaun Watson, maybe you should stick on the offensive side. But I'll play devil's advocate with you and say this. Kevin Stefanski is a play sheet offensive guru. And how's that working out right now for Cleveland? I don't think you should just be married to only offensive gurus, only young offensive coordinators can be next head coaches. No, it doesn't always work out. It's working out right now for Kevin O'Connell. Zach Taylor just got lucky because they got Joe Burrow, let's be honest. But I don't think you have to be glued to that type of coaching candidate. But let me know this. Do you prefer a first-time head coach or a second-chance head coach, right? You want to go with a Frank Reich, a Dan Quinn, a second opportunity, or maybe someone like Kevin Stefanski, who that was his first time being an NFL head coach. Let me know down below in the comments. All right, the next replacement option is an interesting one. It's Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, the team up north. So Harbaugh, of course, had a ton of success. I mean, you may not like the guy right now, but you can't deny he was an awesome coach when he was with the 49ers. He went 44-19. That's insane. He was there for 4 years. Of those 4 years, they were in the NFC Championship game 3 times. His first year, 6-10, straight to NFC Championship game. They went to the Super Bowl, lost to his brother John, but he had a phenomenal record when he was with the 49ers. He also, in case you don't remember, was nearly traded to Cleveland back in 2014. A trade was pretty much all but done in the offseason, but he decided, I don't want to be the coach for the Browns. So what has changed now then, you ask? Well, we'll get to that. But first, I know what probably a lot of you are thinking. He's not leaving Michigan. Move on. Leave. He's not leaving Michigan. Okay. We've also heard tons of times, Deshaun Watson's not going to Cleveland. Well, look where we are now. But I do want to share this tweet with you guys here. Reporter tweeting out that Jim Harbaugh on NFL Rumors, with as strong a shutdown as he's ever given, I will enthusiastically be back as the Wolverines and back of the Wolverines head coach, back as coach of the Wolverines in 2023. Okay. I know he said that, but you are the coach until you're not the coach, until a better gig, until a better offer comes around, and then you reevaluate things. We see this all the time in college football, and even it can bleed over to the NFL of you may say one thing, you may say he is our quarterback until he is not your quarterback. I also want to remind you guys of this quote from Jim Harbaugh a couple months ago. Sure, the Super Bowl is the greatest prize in our sport, but winning a national championship, that's pretty darn great. So then it brings us to this. And you may not want to see Michigan win a natty, but if Michigan does win the national championship, might Harbaugh decide, you know what? I have gotten to the peak of college football. I now want to go win a Super Bowl trophy. I want to get a Super Bowl ring. And what's the best team to take over right now? Wow, that team with Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Denzel Ward, that's a pretty good roster to take on. A lot better than being the head coach of the Houston Texans, right? Or the Indianapolis Colts. So I think the Browns, if Harbaugh decides, I do want to give the NFL another try, since I have, reached the top of college football, Cleveland would be a pretty appealing job if you ask me. All right, we'll get to more head coaching candidates in just a moment, but I do want to ask this quick question here. Never asked this before, but I'm curious to see what the responses are. Are you subscribed? And if so, for how long, right? Let me know when you subscribed to the channel to the best of your memory. Was it when Deshaun Watson got traded? Was it when Baker Mayfield got traded, right? Was it sometime during the season a year ago? Let me know when you subscribe to the channel. I'm just curious to know. And hey, if you're not subscribed, subscribe and then just put today's date down in the comment section and I'll definitely thank you down below. All right, next Stefanski replacement. What about Shane Steichen? This is the big buzz name, right? This is the hot popular name. This is the next offensive guru, the next Sean McVay everyone is chasing, the golden goose. He is currently the Eagles' offensive coordinator, and like I said, he is that young and up-and-coming guy everyone's talking about. Every year, there's someone. Remember Kellen Moore for the Cowboys? That's this year. That's Shane Steichen. Now, he's only 37. Now, for reference, Stefanski is 40. So when Stefanski was hired, he was similar age to Steichen right now. He's only been coaching the NFL since 2011, so he doesn't have a long career coaching. This would be a Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, Stefanski, young hire type of move. Now, he was the Browns' offensive quality control coach back in 2013. So he does know a thing or two about playing football in Northeast Ohio. And his Philadelphia Eagles offense this year is awesome. We know this. I mean, he has made, well, I don't know if I could say but he is the offensive coordinator of a team that's had Jalen Hurts be an MVP candidate. That no one really saw coming at least a year ago right now. The Eagles offense this year, by the way, they're first in points per game. They're third in total yards. Passing, they're a bit behind. But you know why? Because the football field's not long enough, because they run all over it. They don't have room to pass. I really think that kind of gets forgotten sometimes. So this is definitely the hot buzzword, the hot buzz name for head coaching hires this cycle. I'll give you my opinion on it in just a moment. But first, BetUS, our sportsbook partner, they are offering the Dog Pound a 125% deposit bonus when you get started at chatsports.com/bet. Enter promo code Browns125. When you do that, they will hook you up with a 125% deposit bonus. Now, to wrap a full bow on Shane Steichen, listen, I understand how appealing that name may be, and you go, the Eagles offense is awesome. Let's get this guy. I get it. But there's more to coaching than just, oh, how many points per game does your offense average? How many yards per game does your offense average? I mean, Stefanski's biggest issue right now isn't scoring, isn't moving the ball. It is, how well is he outside of his play sheet? How well is he in the locker room? Does he have control of this locker room? Does he have these guys playing hard? Why are we seeing some plays where it seems like not everyone's putting in 110% effort? I don't know if we can check that box for him. So you might just be getting a younger version of what you currently have, and you're gonna be just as frustrated as you are right now in 2 or 3 years. All right, fifth and final possible replacement here. What about Brian Flores? An interesting name, former Miami Dolphins head coach, currently a defensive assistant right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely feel like he's going to be at least a defensive coordinator next year, but he might get some head coaching buzz too. He went 24-25 as the Dolphins head coach. He had a 10-win season. His firing definitely kind of came out of the blue, but there were mixed reviews coming out of Miami. When he got fired last year, I was caught off guard. I was surprised. But now it looks like a pretty good fire because he thought Tua stunk. And Tua, well, he looks a lot better than he did ever with Brian Flores. So maybe it was more so on Flores than Tua. I'm a little bit iffy on Flores. I think Brian Flores could be a great head coach for any team. I think he's a coach that players play really hard for, and they're going to give him 110% effort on defense, and that's what the Browns need right now. But I don't know if he is the best guy for this team right now with Watson at QB. We went through 5 candidates. I want to know who your favorite one was. I guess you can go Sean Payton. I just don't think it's really realistic, but you can give it a shot anyway. Frank Reich, Dan Quinn, Jim Harbaugh, Shane Steichen, Brian Flores. Just put the initials in the comment section for who your favorite candidate was we looked at today.